Hey guys, it's Kevin with MixCoach. As you've probably heard already, Pro Tools 11 released yesterday. They announced it at the GearFest 2013 up at Sweetwater in Indiana. John and Matt from MixCoach are both there, and when it released, they both called me within 5 minutes of each other, talking about how cool Pro Tools 11 was. And although I'm a bit skeptical about some of their releases, I have to say that from what they've told me, from the article that John has written, and some of the other things I've seen, and my hands-on experience in the last day or so trying to get to know it, I'm pretty impressed with what they've done too. And I was just going to put this little video together for you to kind of show you some of the things that I have found, some of the things John has told me, some of the things Matt has told me about Pro Tools. The first thing that's not obvious, but is the main reason that they rebuilt it, was the reuse of the rebuild of the audio engine. From what I understand, the DAE engine that they have used from pretty much the beginning is pretty much a technology that's 10 to 15 years old, depending on how long you've used Pro Tools. I think I've seen that it's 10 years old. So every modification they've done to that DAE engine has been a patch, basically, and it's not giving us the full potential of the new faster Macs, the new faster PCs, not making use of any of this new technology. So gone are the DAE errors, because it's a thing of the past now. What they call errors from now on, if there are any, of course there will be, but I don't know if they'll call them, if they won't call them DAE errors anymore. But anyway, I definitely won't miss seeing DAE error on my screen. Another notable thing is that on the inside that won't be obvious just from looking at it is RAM. From what I understand too, Pro Tools has never used RAM, as much RAM as you have in your computer. Now with the new update, you can use all the RAM on your computer. As a matter of fact, in Pro Tools 9 and 10, you can completely load a session in RAM. So let's see, the track count and the processing, since it's a new audio engine, are both higher. You can process more tracks, you can have more plugins. So CPU is going to be more efficient, more probably higher track counts, and from the demo that John saw the other day, the use of virtual instruments, it's all but unlimited. You used to have to bounce virtual instruments to disk and then import them back in the session, or bounce them off, print them, in order to be able to get a lot of use out of virtual instruments. Well, those days are gone too, according to the things I've seen and the things John and Matt have told me. The biggest thing that Pro Tools 11 is going to offer is offline bounce. That's the thing that everybody's been waiting for. It's the thing that I have worked around for years, and I've never done a bounce to disk because it's inefficient. You have to do it in real time. If you listen to it in real time and you find something in the tag or in the last chorus of the song, or maybe a glitch at the very end of the fade, you have to go back and bounce it again in real time. It's just inefficient. So usually what I'll do is I'll create tracks and bounce it in real time myself, so that I can actually go back and punch in the mix. The use of offline bounce is going to change the game for me, because you'll be able to go over here and do a bounce to disk just like this. Now this is what are they calling it now? A host-based system. They're not calling it LE anymore. But I'm going to show you a few things that you can do here on the TDM system. It's not called TDM system. It's called HD and native. This is a native system. On an HD system, you would see options here where you could bounce out audio 1 and 2. You could bounce a couple of buses out at the same time. You can do up to 16 bounces at one time here. That's pretty big. Another couple of things that you can do here is you can actually add an MP3 and bounce it out at the same time. So in my instance, I'm always bouncing. I have to choose or do twice the work, where I have to bounce out a mix for my client to send to to MP3 in the email or upload or whatever. I have to do that separately than I have to do the WAV file. And a lot of times I won't even bounce a WAV file until the mix is approved. But the new Pro Tools will allow you to do an MP3 export as well as a WAV export. Another thing you can do is you can add straight to your iTunes library. Another thing you can do is you can share it to SoundCloud and you can send it via Gobbler. These are all workflow integrations that I'm going to show you a little bit later. But this is pretty cool. This is a big upgrade. And as Matt has said in the past, I saw him on John's article. He says yes, Pro Tools is usually late integrating this stuff, but they usually do it bigger and better than everybody else too. So I have to agree in this, for instance, I've never seen where you can bounce 16 tracks at once offline and add an MP3, add it to iTunes, share it with Gobbler, and you can do it offline. It does in real time unless you hit the offline. And then let's just show you how fast that this will bounce. It's up to 150 times faster than real time. So I've got the whole song selected here. Let's see how long it would take to bounce this song. So this song is 30 times faster. You can tell by there. So 30 times faster than real time. The song is done. I've got an MP3, a WAV file I would have sent to Gobbler and SoundCloud all at the same time. So that's a pretty big upgrade there. So that's one of the biggest things that we've been waiting for is an offline bounce. Let's see if I've covered everything. Up to 150 times faster. Now that depends on how much CPU you're using, how much virtual instruments you're using, but mainly how much processing you're using. It will take less time the less processing you're using. So you can just zip it out in a blink, or like I just did. 30 times faster is still 30 times better than I'm used to. So let's see. Let me show you another thing that you can do from this window. Let's just say that you had I don't know, a headphone mix or something, and you wanted to send it out. Let's create some sense here. Okay, let's just say you wanted to bounce this verb to tape for some reason, the verb send to tape. Or let's say you had another mix going on up here as a stem. You can right click on this and you can actually bounce this bus. That's pretty big too. So if you wanted, if you had some kind of a stem mix coming from here, you just you could bounce this verb the same way, and you pull up this window, so you could bounce it to disk. That's a pretty cool thing too to have. Let's see if I've covered everything we need to cover on the offline bounce. No, that's pretty much it. The iTunes bounce is pretty cool. Okay, so offline bounce, that's a big thing we've been waiting for. Okay, let's talk about workflow, some new workflow things we have going on here. Like you saw just a second ago, we've got SoundCloud and Gobbler integration. So if I wanted to just say send this whole song off to one of my guys at MixCoach to mix for me, I would just go here, and then you can send to Gobbler. Now I had to set up. I had to open up Gobbler in order for this to work the first time. I don't know if that's a bug or just something that's in the workflow that Gobbler has to be running in the background for this to work. But you just send to Gobbler, and you do a save. Let's see. Let's save it as this and save it on the desktop. And then basically your Gobbler login pops up. You can have Remember Me, and if you're not a member, you can sign up for Gobbler here right within the page. So yeah, you could send it out for overdubs. I can see this being a real time saver for me, because I'm always sending out stems for guys to mix. Sending it out Gobbler straight from the session is another great thing that I have seen. It's going to save me a ton of time. Let's see, another obvious thing that I saw here is that there's a meter right here on the top, and when you see it, it's like, why didn't that happen before? I always pulled the master fader up to the top. Let's create a master fader here. And I always had to just drag it to the top and notice that that was my metering. But now they put it at the top, so if you can always see the level of things here, which is smart. It's a cool thing. Let me show you another thing that I have found that's pretty cool. The metering is a little bit more high resolution. Seems like the faders are longer. And let's just go ahead and do this. I'm going to put something on every channel. I'm going to use the channel strip that comes with Pro Tools. Okay, so I have to do my monos separately, I guess. But this is enough to show you when you put a channel strip up, you actually have dynamics metering on the fader itself. So let's find a good part of the song. Let's do this chorus here.
This ain't an ocean that will lead you back to shore. This ain't a mountain.
Let's say we wanted to compress this kick here. Go ahead and by the way, this new channel strip has a new. We'll cover that later on too. But you can actually do the ratio there and the threshold here. So
this ain't an ocean that will lead you back to shore. This ain't a mountain you have ever climbed before. This ain't a promise you can make and then ignore, 'cause you just ain't falling in love. It's not about winning, I'm not a trophy on your wall. It's not about giving up.
okay, so we've got the kick drum and some compression on the kick drum. So let's see, the meters are supposed to be coming up here, and they were yesterday when I was looking at it, but it doesn't seem to be coming up now.
This ain't an ocean that will lead you back to shore.
Yesterday it just popped straight up from yesterday I inserted a compressor, any compressor, the 1176, the channel strip, and instantly the metering came up here. That's supposed to be, maybe I'm missing something here, but that actually happened yesterday. I haven't changed anything. So it could be that I've just discovered a small little bug that they're still working on here. But let's put 1176 on the bass and hit it.
This ain't an ocean that will.
Okay, so what's supposed to happen is there's supposed to be a gain reduction meter here. Not happening now, so if, guys at Avid, if you're watching this, you may need to check that out. When you see it, you can actually see how much compression is going on every channel here, which is pretty handy because it's another workflow thing where I didn't realize how inconvenient it was to actually open up the plug-in to see how much compression was happening. Nice little addition there. Another thing that happens too in the workflow that's pretty cool is that you can actually right-click where this is the channel strip. You can actually right-click and then you can go to the presets and actually install or do presets from here without actually even opening up the plugin, which is another cool workflow addition. I'm going to show you another cool thing that you can do too. You can bypass all of the EQs on every channel at the same time by holding the Shift and E. So that bypasses, and when it turns purple, it means that it's partially bypassed. So bypassed all the EQ. You can also bypass all the compressors too. If you notice, the 1176 completely bypassed. So and as you can see, it's bypassing the dynamics and the EQ. So if you want to see how much EQ you're doing and you want to take it all off of the, let me just install another EQ here and see if all of the EQ gets bypassed. Okay, so it looks like I can, this one's not bypassed, but if E, okay, it does it the second time. So it looks like you can bypass it, insert, and work on one EQ, and then unbypass everything. So, okay, so that's just a kind of a recap of what Pro Tools 11 has to offer with this new upgrade. It looks pretty impressive. I can't wait to dive in. As a matter of fact, next month on MixCoach Member, we'll be mixing a jazz song, and I will be using Pro Tools 11 to demonstrate my mix flow, my workflow of mixing this jazz song, and it'll give me a chance to kind of get to know Pro Tools 11, some of the new integrations that I can use, bounce to disc, etc. Some of the things I've showed you. So if you want to check that out, check out MixCoachMember.com. You can join, and you can still get in on the song that we were listening to today called Falling in Love with a Girl. You still have time to get in there, download your songs, mix it, upload it, let us listen to them, give you mix evaluations, and get in next month when we use Pro Tools 11. You don't have to use Pro Tools to be in MixCoach Member. Guys are using Mixbus, guys are using Logic, Reaper, Reason, everything you can think of they're using. It's not about the workstation that you're using. It's about tuning your ears and becoming a better mixer. So check out MixCoach Member, and hope you've enjoyed this little walkthrough, and I will see you soon.